Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is the news beat presented to you by Ladies Like. Follow the beat from the studio to the street. Info with the flow keeps you sharp and in the know. Sit back, relax, enjoy the news. Follow. In Tanzania, insulting the president may now be a crime. One man has to pay 7 million shillings as fine or go to jail after he was found guilty of insulting President John Magufuli. The Arusha Residence Magistrates Court convicted Isaac Abakuki after he admitted that he had committed the offense. And at first, the judgment was worse. Abakuki was to pay 5 million shillings and serve 3 years. But after plea from his lawyer, they reduced the punishment to paying 7 million shillings in 2 installments. He was charged under Cybercrime Act number 14 because his statements were contrary to Section 16 of that act, which states that no one can publish false data or facts presented in a picture, symbol or text on a computer system. Yet Abakuki knowingly published a false criticism. Others have been persecuted under the new law, but the act has opponents who point out a major flaw. The act gives too much power to the police, who may arrest social media users and online activists. When the bill was introduced, it faced widespread opposition, but it was passed last year with a little debate or discussion. The debate still continues whether this law is for protection of citizens' rights or if it violates their freedom of expression. China and Africa have a lot to sort out in Guangzhou. Our reporter Oki Forever is here with more.
China's southern city of Guangzhou has Asia's biggest African community, and with a population of 200,000 Africans, it's now locally known as the Chocolate City. However, many Africans are now leaving Guangzhou to go back to their home countries due to China's slow economy, widespread racism, and hostile immigration policies. Many Africans lack the legal requirements to stay in the city as residents, and therefore unable to open up businesses or seek employment, so they prefer export trade because of the legal constraints. In 2009, a Nigerian immigrant jumped out a second-floor window to his death as he was trying to evade passport check because his visa had gone past its expiry date. His death resulted into a civil protest against the Chinese police, with over 100 African immigrants storming the city's police station to demand for justice. In 2012, the city of Beijing carried out a visa raid targeting Nigerian citizens without proper documentation. Consequently, Nigeria carried out a similar raid on illegal Chinese migrants in Kano, Nigeria in retaliation. However, in 2014, China passed the Exit Entry Administration Law, which made the visa renewal process more cumbersome than before, which meant that Africans who were able to travel short distances to Macau or Hong Kong to get visa extensions now had to renew their visas from their home nations. Africa's migrants with no visa extensions live in fear of deportation, and if caught, face months or even years in China's harsh prisons. Undocumented deportees also have to pay the cost of their repatriation. China's crackdown on foreign visas in its major cities has strained the relationship between the African immigrants and the Chinese authorities, and the African traders who have been doing business with China since the economic boom in the 90s. I'm Oki Forever, reporting for Newsbeat.
Thank you, Oki Forever, for that report. Senegal is to eliminate street begging. Our reporter Tushi Polo is here with more.
Street begging is a global problem, especially in the urban cities, which normally occurs as a result of culture disorders and disabilities, or due to rural-urban migration or national calamities. However, Senegal's sitting president Macky Sall formally declared war on child begging in Senegal and promised to imprison the parents of the child beggars for their role. For years, the child begging culture in Senegal has remained firm because it is often related to the Islamic practice of offering alms, which is prohibited by law and not acceptable in Islam. Many Muslim families send their children to Islamic shelters called daras to get an education, but the children under the care of Islamic teachers called marabouts are often subjected to exploitation. And although the contribution of this institution has been critical, its image has been marred by the many illegal daras controlled by gangs in Senegal. At least 50,000 children called the talibs from Senegal's daras are sent to the streets by their teachers to become beggars instead of scholars, and are beaten if they fail to return each day with at least $3. Some marabouts can earn over $150,000 annually from their illegal endeavors. Hundreds of talibs have also been trafficked from Guinea-Bissau, Mauritania, Mali, and brought into Senegal as students but end up on the streets begging for money. Although Senegal passed a law in 2005 aimed at stopping illegal practice, only about a dozen teachers have been prosecuted ever since, and influential religious leaders have also frustrated the law in defiance. Senegal's complex child begging phenomenon has remained a center of contention between the Senegalese government, the Islamic community, and the United Nations. I'm Tushi Polo, reporting for Newsbeat.
Thank you to Shipolo for that report. Burkina Faso was always known for its cotton. The white gold was the greatest crop in the region. It was considered the best on the continent until the 90s when it had to face pests and drought. Thousands of cotton farmers suffered harshly, but Monsanto came up with the easy remedy. The company introduced genetically modified seeds and told the people of Burkina Faso that's exactly what they needed. Modified cotton seeds are drought resistant and produce bigger yields. Monsanto and Burkina Faso got the deal, and the new seeds took over 70% of the cotton fields. But recently, there has been a change of policy. Burkinabe President Kabore wants to remove the modified seeds from the industry and promote the local varieties, which bring smaller yields but better qualities. Prices have been dropped for the Monsanto cotton. The loss for the country is over 80 million. Monsanto, the American giant company, is facing deeper scrutiny. African countries once believed the magic seed would bring better yields, but farmers soon realized it was a fake. And now many African countries have trials underway, but South Africa, Sudan, and Egypt have the same business underway. That was the news on the beat. Next week will be another hit. Still ladies like, reporting live and direct with love and respect. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.